This is mankind. When he's not serving God, he's against God. He joins the devil. Verse 27. And when they were building, they built themselves a great city and a very high, strong tower. And on account of its height, the mortar and bricks did not reach the builders in their ascent to it until those who went up had completed a full year. And after that, they reached to the builders and gave them the mortar and the bricks. Thus was it done daily. Do you understand what was just said there? It says when it was reaching the height that God got involved, it would take a 1-year journey to the top of this tower. A 1-year journey to the... You see why they don't want you to read Jasher? Because when you read it, you're like, okay, well, this does not agree with current cosmology. And it's like, yeah, I know. That's the point. You've been lied to. This is actually the truth. This story took a year to get to the top. Verse 28, and behold, these ascended and others descended the whole day. And if a brick should fall from their hands and get broken, they would all weep over it. And if a man fell and died, none of them would look at him. In other words, these are godless men. They don't have a love of neighbor. They just want to kill God. The brick falls, right? This is an example of man being consumed with materialism instead of spiritual things. What did Jesus say? The flesh counts for nothing. The spirit gives life. The flesh counts for nothing. These people are all about the flesh. They're buildings. They want to destroy God. They're in the flesh. They're very earthly minded. They don't even cry over their brethren when they fall and die during this project. They're like, it's the cost of killing God. You know, it's just this evil attitude. Okay. Verse 29. And the Lord knew their thoughts. And it came to pass when they were building, they cast the arrows towards the heavens, and all the arrows fell upon them filled with blood. And when they saw them, they said to each other, surely we have slain all those that are in heaven. So they shot arrows up towards the firmament, and the arrows fell down with blood on them. Okay? Which was symbolic of, you know, we think we're actually slaying the angels up there. We're winning, right? It's a little trickery. Okay. Verse 31. And they built the tower in the city, and they did this thing daily until many days and years were elapsed. And God said to the 70 angels who stood foremost before him, to those who are near to him, saying, come, let us descend and confuse their tongues, that one man shall not understand the language of his neighbor. And they did so unto them. And from that day following, they forgot each man his neighbor's tongue, and they could not understand to speak in one tongue. And when the builder took from the hands of his neighbor lime or stone, which he did not order, the builder would cast it away, throw it upon his neighbor, that he would die. So still, they got their language confused, and they're still not loving neighbor. They're literally killing each other. Verse 34, and they did so many days, and they killed many of them in this manner. Verse 35, and the Lord smote the 3 divisions that were there, and he punished them according to their works and designs. Those who said, we will ascend to heaven and serve our gods, became like apes and elephants. And those who said, we will smite the heaven with arrows, the Lord killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor. And the 3rd division of those who said, we will ascend to heaven and fight against him, the Lord scattered them throughout the earth. Okay, so the first group became like apes and elephants. That actually is very similar to what happened in Nebuchadnezzar, if you remember in the story of Nebuchadnezzar. So he did that to that group. The next group, he killed those people, the ones who were literally shooting arrows up towards the firmament. He killed those people by having them kill each other. So he had them enter into a chaotic state. This happens in other wars in the Bible. And then that last group, he scattered them across the earth, which means that all people groups have a little bit of this descendancy in them. Okay. Verse 36, and those who were left amongst them, when they knew and understood the evil which was coming upon them, they forsook the building, and they also became scattered upon the face of the whole earth. Verse 37, and they ceased building the city and the tower. Therefore, he called that place Babel, for there the Lord confounded the language of the whole earth. Behold, it was at the east of the land of Shinar. God actually did a great job here. I genuinely believe that, because confusing our language really slowed down the whole war against God thing. And that was excellent idea, Lord. Verse 38, and as the tower which the sons of men built, the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up 1/3 part thereof. Pay attention to this part. This is wild. So we know it was so tall, at least at this point, that it took 1 year to ascend, okay, to the top of it, to bring bricks and mortar to the top. And there was constantly men doing that, going up and down. But look at this. Look at how big it was at its base, right? And as the tower which the sons of men built, the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up 1/3 part. Okay, so 1/3 falls into the earth, or in other words, like collapses because the earth opens up, a sinkhole, right? And a fire also descended from heaven and burned another third. So another third of it gets destroyed in a very similar fashion to Sodom and Gomorrah. Fire from heaven comes and starts to melt that mortar and cause it to come apart and break apart and fall. And the other third left to this day, okay, so at the writing of Jasher, left to this day, and it is of that part which was aloft, and its circumference is 3 days' walk. 1/3 of this tower, according to Scripture, took 3 days to walk around the circumference. Of what was left of the rubble took 3 days, meaning it was even wider. So when you think about the height of the firmament, right, we know that amateur balloons showing a flat horizon have reached like 120,000 plus miles. Eventually the firmament's up there. Operation Fishbowl tested that. We know it's up there, okay? These guys had a base, a tower, so wide that the 1/3 left took 3 days to circle around it. And at its height, the highest point it reached, it never made it to the gate of heaven, but at its highest point, it took 1 year to ascend the tower. This was a tremendous monolithic structure. We've never seen anything like it.